Diane Tavenner is the co-founder and CEO of Summit Public Schools, a nationally recognized nonprofit with 15 middle and high schools in California and Washington. She developed a school model centered on real-world experiences, self-direction, collaboration, and reflection, preparing all students to succeed in college, thrive in today's workplace, and lead a secure and fulfilled life. Summit has been recognized as America's best high schools from U.S. News and World Report, America's most challenging high schools by the Washington Post, and one of the world's top 10 most innovative companies in education from Fast Company. A lifelong educator, prior to founding Summit, Diane spent a decade as a public school teacher, administrator, and leader in traditional urban and suburban public schools throughout California. She's on the board of the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching and Learning. She has a degree in psychology and sociology from USC, right on, and an MA in administration and policy from Stanford. Diane is the author of Prepared, What Kids Need for a Fulfilled Life. Prepared has been featured on Good Morning America, named bestseller by Amazon and the LA Times, and recommended by Bill Gates as one of his top favorite books of 2019. Diane, how are Summit schools learning these days? What did you put into play?
Yeah, Julie, I think you know about Summit and kind of what we do. So, this is a horrible pandemic, and none of us would have ever wanted this to happen. But if it was going to happen, we were pretty prepared, I will say, and. Yeah, we finished our last day in our school buildings on a Friday in March, and on Monday we had a training for our teachers, and on Tuesday we launched virtual school, and our kids have been in virtual school ever since. And there's no learning loss here. Our kids are fully engaged. Our teachers are fully engaged. We're leveraging the tools that we have always used, and quite frankly, the skills we've been building in our kids, because we care a lot about self-direction and the habits of success that enable our kids to really drive and own their learning and their goals. And that has made it possible for our schools to exist in the virtual world.
So you have a lot of high schools, but you also start in middle school. So is that sixth grade for you?
Yeah, our kids.
Okay. So let's talk for a minute first about that middle school curriculum, the 6th through 8th grader. So they're virtual, meaning they're on Zoom for every class every day?
No, so I think one of the things that we understood is you can't just take what you were doing in the physical building and put it into the virtual world. And so what you have to do is prioritize. So there's a few things we prioritized. One, it's really important for kids and people to stay connected. It's a scary time. It's an uncertain time. What's most important is our connection to each other and to the people who are important to us. So number one, connection. As you know, our kids all have a mentor. And so they start every single morning in, we're using Google Hangouts, but they start in a Google Hangout with their mentor and all the other students in the mentor group. And they do their regular morning check-in. And all, we're staying connected. They feel like it's a consistent schedule. So that's the second thing, is consistency. One of the things that we all need during this very abnormal time is consistency, and schedule and routine are actually really helpful. So we start there. Everyone sets their, we have a technology platform, so our kids can set a goal in there. We know they're engaged and present right away. Do that. And then they don't sit on a video all day long, because that makes sense. They, depending on what their goals are, they're doing either one-to-one check-ins with their mentor, they're breaking into like a small group or a pair with other students to do some work, or they're working independently. And then they're coming back through the day to check in at the start of their class periods.
Wow. So I know that your schools also have lots of group sort
Yeah.
of work, right? And inside the classes, there was lots of group work. So how are you handling
Yeah.
that now at home?
So after they do that morning connection with their mentor, then they're going to their project or their regular class, well. And so we're fortunate we have a platform that allows our teachers to post the full daily lesson. It allows our students to submit their work on it. It allows collaboration on that platform. Teachers can give feedback, kids can request feedback and help on the platform. So we're not emailing things, we're not doing Dropbox, we don't have websites. It's like all in one place where the kids are used to going. No one's using a new platform or anything. And they're working together in like small chat rooms or using GChat or, sometimes on their own and doing that like throughout the day.
Right. So they've already been using this platform and they've already been doing things this way. So you, like you said, you were prepared for this.
Yes.
That is really fascinating. As an educator, and as I shared all of your accolades already, where do you see the future of education? I know in your book you talk about how it really does need an overhaul, and it looks like this might be the time.
Well, one of the most interesting things that's happened, Julie, is this pandemic has brought school home in a way that it's never come home before. And I think parents are seeing the type of work their kids are to do or not asked to do, the quality of that work, the frustrations, the challenges. And I think it's helping people really realize, oh, a lot of what we're doing doesn't make sense. And like, maybe we should do something different. And so I'm hopeful that
Mhm.
the good that will come out of this bad is that we collectively
Right.
will look at our system and say, huh, we can do something different and better, and we should be doing something different and better.
Right, right. So for seniors, I know that everybody is really concerned that seniors are going to miss graduation and all of that excitement that they've worked so hard for. What are you guys doing for graduation?
Well, and as you know, I have a senior. My son is a senior, and so I'm living this in my house.
Yeah.
And look, there's no way around it. It's a sad time. We're not that, we can't avoid that. And what we can do is focus on what's really underneath those traditions and those rituals that we have. And what's underneath them is a celebration of all our kids have learned and accomplished. It's a rite of passage into adulthood. And it is a send off to them. And it's also a moment where they can reflect and are grateful for what they have been able to engage in and the relationships they've had and what they've learned. And so what we're trying to do is figure out what that looks like in a school space. And I don't know about you, but one of the things we've realized is like you can still be really deeply connected with people, even in this two-dimensional space. And so we're doing some of those rituals in a virtual world. And then we're actually just really closely monitoring and hoping to do some small group ceremonies, like graduation ceremonies, potentially in June or maybe July and August. And then we're doing some fun stuff, like all of our seniors are getting a lawn sign that is going to recognize them in their neighborhood for who they are, and hopefully come in sort of a procession that reminds them that we still love them and care about them. So a combination of things like that.
Right. That's great. So for those students though, how many more weeks of school do you guys have left?
We have about 6 weeks left, and one of the, yeah.
Because my girls in my high school are actually only have 2 weeks
Yeah,
left.
well, remember, we have not stopped the learning. We're actually finished the year. All of our kids are really engaged in the same work that they were engaged in before. And so one of the exciting things I think we've done is when we first went out of school, we thought we would be coming back. I think most people did. We thought we'd be back in our building in a month. And when that became clear that that was going to happen, we knew that we had to have a plan to finish the year. And we looked around at the country where different school systems are either just deciding for everyone, you're all going to get a pass, or you're all going to get an A, or we're not even going to finish the year. We're not going to give you a chance to learn. And we decided that our parents and our kids should make those decisions. And as you know, we're focused on personalizing. So we created 4 personalized pathways. We let our students and families pick how they wanted to finish the year. And they could either choose to accelerate. Some of our kids can go faster in the virtual world, and they're highly motivated to do that. And they wanted to finish strong. We offered them to stay on track. Like, this is working for me. I'm going to stay on track. I'm going to earn full grades. I'm going to keep, my regular schedule. Some of our students needed to focus on what was most important. So we pared back the work a little bit. They're still going to finish the year because they're taking on home responsibilities or things. And literally a handful of our kids, their families are just in a really crisis place right now. And so we're working individually with them as they sort of step back and really engage in the most important parts of their life right now until they're able to re-engage. But what's really inspiring, Julie, is of our 4,300 students, almost all of them chose to stay on track or accelerate. And so what I want to just tell people is we're assuming that kids and families can't engage and don't want to engage and don't have. It's just not true. When you give them the tools and the voice and the option, they really want to keep learning. They want to be connected. They want to, spend their days engaged in something that is productive and exciting and interesting and that advances their goals. Really inspiring.
So, wow, it just seems like for the kids at your schools, it's been really a very seamless transition. Would you say the same for the educators then? Because they already sort of had these platforms where the kids were working together, but in an online place.
Yeah, our teachers and our school leaders are just amazing. They're incredible. They did not skip a beat. They are 100% focused on supporting our kids and making sure that they don't lose learning and they don't lose connection, and that we're doing everything we can to support their emotional health through all of this. And so, they just got to work using the tools. Our team came together. We put together this amazing step-by-step handbook for teachers to support them to get into this online space. We're all using the same tools so we can help each other. And everyone has just come together and is doing incredible work that's really focused on what's best for kids.
So I'm sure you know that lots of public and private schools are really struggling with this, particularly in the elementary years, helping kids to stay connected, keeping them engaged. All of these concerns. What would you say to those educators is the most important thing to either put in place right now in case this were to happen again, or in case we're still here in the fall?
Yeah, I think, at a very foundational level, I think what this has shown us is that making sure that all of our students have a device and they all have connectivity at home, and they all have, all schools have sort of a basic set of systems that they're using for communication and connection. That's really critically important. And, we were able to start immediately because all of our kids have a Chromebook. We had already dealt with connectivity. We had all those building blocks in place. So I just think this has illuminated that that's just a foundational need for schools, period, going forward. And we should all be working to get those pieces in place as quickly as we can. And then on top of the next thing, when I think about elementary school, and I think about it from a parenting perspective with an educator lens, when I think about kids sort of 3rd grade and under, to me, in a time like this, the most important thing is that they're able to read. Really, if I have to one thing from early elementary school, it's reading. And, you know, I don't, what can happen at home when parents are really left to be the teachers is making sure that reading is like a really positive, awesome experience. And that doesn't mean you have to turn into a reading teacher. It means you have a lot of books around. You read. You talk about what you read with your kids. You read with them. It's a good experience. You know, like you're just really doing reading in a positive, productive way. So I put all my energy into that. And then I would put my energy into projects. And so I've heard some really creative and fun things that parents are doing where what's interesting is they call me to almost ask for permission because they feel guilty, Julie, when they're like, wait, should I be doing the worksheets my school sent? Because my daughter hates those. Or she's really excited about cooking. And so we literally went and found a recipe for something. And now we're cooking and we're measuring and we're like doing, I'm like, no, do the cooking. That is project-based learning. That's so much more valuable than like forcing your child to be doing worksheets. You know, that's not how learning happens.
So they won't fall behind if they don't do all those worksheets.
Um, I I don't even know what fall behind means in this case. So I would suggest no, that what we really care about is the skills of solving problems and being self-directed and being curious and learning what you like and reading, which is super important. I think you won't fall behind if you're really creating those engaging environments. And you know this, Julie. Our friend Mira Brown, Prepared Parents, has truly phenomenal tips on how to do all this stuff. And her team is working, and she's a mom of 2 little kids, so she's feeling it every day. And they have tips every day for what you can do to help build the habits of success and how you can support your kids at home and how you can do this without killing yourself. So I really recommend. They just have
People
amazing.
go to the website.
Yeah.
And that's on the website.
Preparedforsuccess.org.
Preparedforsuccess.org. Yeah. Okay. And she has daily tips on there.
Incredible. And a whole package of tips around this COVID epidemic and what you can do as parents. It's really amazing resources.
What do you foresee for the fall? Do you foresee that your son will get to start college and go off and live in dorms?
I mean, I don't have a crystal ball like anyone. I'm tracking this really closely, like a lot of people. The wisdom seems to suggest that we will not have a normal year next year, that there will be some sort of either
delay,
social distancing or staggering or potentially sheltering in place again. So I think we have to prepare for that. My son is fortunate because he selected a college that is very much like our school, so it's designed for this. It is Minerva, which has this incredible platform where they learn, makes it flexible, and so I'm hopeful he's going to be able to have his full college experience. But I think a lot of people will not, quite frankly.
So when you say, I'm not very familiar with that college, you said it's Minerva. And
yeah.
Where is it? You mentioned before, where is it?
Yeah, it's a new school, so it's not surprising you don't know it. It's 4 years old. It starts in San Francisco, but then the next 6 semesters the kids live in different world cities.
Yes, I remember
right,
that.
But they have this amazing learning platform. The classes actually take place on the learning platform, which gives this, again, like
which is online.
Which is online. And
so it can be done from anywhere, like when they're away traveling in all these different countries.
Exactly.
But do you think, I mean, we may go back to school in August, September, or maybe not till January, but how do you think world travel will be? And that arm of that particular school is heavily based on world travel.
Well, they also are a very innovative entrepreneurial school. haven't put all their money into building. They've really put their money into student experience. And so they've been really thoughtful about which countries they'll be in during the fall and the physical space there so that if they do have to shelter in place, they will be able to. And so I've been really impressed with their adaptability and how innovative they are and thinking through all of that.
Amazing. So, wow, we are now what in the you know better than I, 6th or 7th week. All the weeks are starting to run together for me. And kids tumbling out of bed, and I don't even keep track of like the schedule anymore. I'm like, keep track of your own. Because so my kids are having like some Skype lessons, for like violin and different things. And I'm like, it's at home. Like I don't have to drive you anywhere. So you keep track of it and you set an alarm. And so in some ways it's created more independence, I think. So I think there are actually good things that are coming out of this, even though we're all stuck together at home.
Yes.
But is there anything new that you and your husband and your son have taken up?
My husband and son are pursuing their black belt. So they were on their black belt journeys in Taekwondo, and they're doing that via video, which people have just been so creative, right? And they'll find ways to stay connected. As you know, we love to cook, and so we're really fortunate
cooking a whole lot more
every single day together.
Every meal, you're learning lots of baking recipes. Yes, my daughter did make a chocolate chip cookie cake the other day. The daughter who really doesn't bake or cook much, and I was so impressed.
It's really it's made me appreciate, when you go to the store and you can't actually buy things. I actually think so much about this experience is really powerful for us as a society. We've gotten so privileged and
yes, and taking everything for granted.
And it's really startling and scary the first time I walked in the grocery store and like there's no flour, there's no butter, there's no pasta, and just like
and then there's a long line to get into markets. I mean, I couldn't believe the line wrapped around Target. I was like, right. I've learned you have to go on the early side. If you go noon or after,
right. And so just appreciating that. I don't know about you, our dinners are a lot longer. Like we're not rushing off to things as much.
That is very funny, Diane. In our house, dinner happens either really late or really early. And no, I don't see it like we're unfortunately not necessarily sitting there longer, but the girls do have time to do the dishes. So that's really great.
That is great. That is great. And
it is great. They're learning a skill, a life skill.
It is great. And then the only thing that I'm learning, which is hopefully going to be kind of fun, is I've decided to do a podcast, a limited series podcast with my friend Michael Horn to talk about some of these issues, Julie, and just to answer some of these questions that parents are asking us. And so we're going to take 10 of the top questions we're getting and see if we can bring expertise and inside knowledge to help answer these questions for parents. So
that's amazing. So tell me, what is your friend's name again? And is he an educator? Tell about him.
His name is Michael Horn, and he's an author, and he was a co-author with Clay Christensen on Disrupting Class, which is one of the first books that really helps us understand how we have to change education. And so the podcast will be called Class Disrupted. And
totally.
And our first question we are going to ask is like, why doesn't every kid have a device and internet? I mean, why? What? And then like the second one, do we really want to do these worksheets? I mean, is this really the best we can do? And so we're going to just take questions like that and pick them up.
Will there even be paper and printers like 10 years from now, right? Even though I still like to print everything. I mean, my kids are like, why are you printing it? Why are you wasting trees? And I'm like, oh my gosh. You're right. But I didn't think of that.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So when does your podcast start?
Well, as soon as we can get it done, we're hoping in the next week or so we'll have our first episodes ready. So we will let you know as soon as we do, for sure.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, maybe I can interview you both again. Next time we do this, I know that some people who hopped on or who were hoping to watch this video later were hoping that we would talk a little more about the book. I know I had specific requests for you to talk again about the cheese. The comparison of a child to cheddar versus Swiss cheese and having holes in them. They really love that. But I feel like we're going to have to do that next time because you've been coming in a bit grainy for me. And I have actually been coming in grainy the last 2 days. And so I'm really worried about that. So maybe you and I can set another time to do a Zoom call and have a video that's specific.
I would love
your book.
Love to do that. Anytime.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for being you and having these amazing schools. Take care. Bye, Diane. Thanks, everyone, for joining.